There are three books in the Bible known as the wisdom literature: Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job. The first, Proverbs, shows us that God is both wise and just. We learn that God has ordered the world to be fair. The righteous are rewarded and the wicked are punished. In other words, you get what you deserve. But then we meet Ecclesiastes, which observes that people don't always get what they deserve. The world isn't always fair. Life is unpredictable, hard to comprehend, like smoke, fleeting and mysterious. And this raises a tough question. Is God truly wise and just? Exactly. That's the question explored in the final book of wisdom, Job. Let's dive in. The story begins with a strange scene in the heavens, described as a kind of heavenly command center. God is there with angelic beings called the sons of God, who are reporting for duty. God points out Job, his servant, praising him for being righteous and good. Then one of the angels steps forward. In Hebrew, he's called the Satan. The Satan? Who is this? The term Satan here isn't a name, it's a title meaning the one who opposes. This being questions how God is running the world. He suggests that Job might not truly love God. Perhaps Job is only righteous because of the blessings he's received. If you take away Job's blessings, the Satan argues, you'll see his true colors. In other words, he thinks Job is just working the system. God agrees to this test and allows the Satan to inflict suffering on Job. Job loses everything: his family, his wealth, and his health. It's devastating, and remember, Job doesn't deserve any of this. God himself said so. Remarkably, in the midst of his suffering, Job still praises God, at least in chapters 1 and 2. In chapter 3, however, Job reveals his inner torment. He unleashes an emotional poem, cursing the day he was born. Afterward, Job's friends arrive to comfort him. They insist that Job must have committed some terrible sin to deserve such suffering. They argue, God is just, and the world is ordered by his justice. If you're suffering, you must have done something wrong. For the next 34 chapters, Job and his friends debate in dense Hebrew poetry. The friends speculate about possible sins Job could have committed and offer hypothetical explanations for his suffering. But Job defends his innocence after every accusation. He knows he's done nothing to deserve this. Job's emotional journey swings between confidence in God's justice and moments of doubt. At times, he accuses God of being reckless, unfair, and corrupt. By the end of the dialogue, Job demands that God explain himself in person, and God does respond in the form of a great storm cloud. But instead of giving Job a direct answer, God takes him on a virtual tour of the universe. God shows Job the complexity and vastness of creation, asking, "Can you run the world or understand it for even a single day?" God points out intricate details of the natural world, things we barely notice but which God oversees with care. He then introduces Job to two wondrous, dangerous creatures. These beasts could kill without a second thought, yet they are part of God's good creation. God's message is clear. From Job's limited perspective, the world may seem unjust, but God's perspective is infinitely larger, encompassing complexities Job can't comprehend. This is what God calls his wisdom. Demanding an explanation from God is absurd because Job lacks the capacity to understand the full picture. Humbled, Job acknowledges God's wisdom and power. He never learns the reason for his suffering, but he finds peace in trusting God. In the end, God restores double of everything Job lost. But this isn't a reward, nor was Job's suffering a punishment. Instead, it's a gift, a demonstration of God's grace and wisdom. Now, Job is the kind of person who trusts God's wisdom, no matter what comes, good or bad. The book of Job concludes the wisdom literature. Each book offers a unique perspective on life. Proverbs teaches that living righteously leads to blessing. Ecclesiastes reminds us that life is unpredictable and complex. Job shows that even when life seems unfair, we can trust God's wisdom. Taken together, these books guide us in living wisely and in reverence for the Lord.